The first peatlands are the oldest habitat. We have lot of marshes, lot of swamps, lot of raised bogs, all containing water, and this is our traditional landscapes. They work like buffer zones. When there is drought, when they keep water, they
store water.
restore water.
Welcome to this special edition of Let's Talk Water, and this time it's from Estonia. My focus this time around is on peatlands. Estonia is heavily invested and focused on restoring their degraded peatlands. And this is what got me interested. How are they doing this? Because the numbers are huge. But I have with me Hanno Zingel, who's the advisor to the Ministry of Climate, government of Estonia. Thank you so much for being here on Let's Talk Water.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I know it's late over here. It's beyond 5 o'clock. It's cold outside. I'm loving the temperature and the food in Estonia. And it's just good to be over here. But I will start. Tell me something. Why exactly has the government of Estonia, the Ministry of Climate, is focusing on restoring peatlands? Why is it so important?
The first peatlands are the oldest habitat biotop ecosystem, and Estonia is quite flat country. We don't have mountains. We have lot of marshes, lot of swamps, lot of raised bogs, all containing water, and this is our traditional landscapes. And also we can say that all Estonian wilderness is more or less focused on these swamp forests and mire areas. Like we can say that usually mountains are the areas where the wildlife is concentrated. In Estonian case, there are about 1,000 bears in Estonia.
1,000 bears?
1,000 bears now in Estonia living, and this is all supported by these wilderness areas like marshes. So it is important for eagles, for bears, wolves, lynxes, black storks. This kind of iconic wilderness species. First, and second, raised bogs are aesthetically very beautiful. We have special walking routes to see the beauty of these areas, and in Estonia it is more or less voted that raised bogs are Estonian favorite landscape actually.
I was speaking to a lot of experts over here and a lot of friends from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they were actually telling me that during the Soviet occupation, a lot of it was actually, they destroyed a lot of the wetlands. They believe that you need to use it for other purposes. Why exactly was not so much importance given by the Soviets then, or by the officials then? What was the thinking there?
The thinking was to get more land to grow forests, to maybe farming, yes, new farmlands and such. But actually this is not so successful, actually, because even now when we are talking about climate change, it is all sphagnum, and all this sphagnum goes to the atmosphere as a CO2. And on other hand, it is calculated that one square kilometer of raised bog in 1 year accumulates average 1 ton of carbon. So as
a carbon sink?
Yes, as a carbon sink indeed, and this is 1 ton. Circa 1 ton. It can be more and more or less, but
wow.
and this is even more permanent carbon sink than forest, because all this sphagnum is underwater and there is no oxygen, so the carbon will be there for ages. It will not, but if you drain the bog, then the carbon will go to the atmosphere, CO2. So this is also in climate change aspect very important to restore peatlands, and this is one aspect. But also as these mayas and swamps, they work like buffer zones. When there is drought, then they keep water. They
restore water.
restore water exactly, even in most dry conditions. And on the other hand, when there are floods, then also they work like buffer zones. They keep the floods down. They just contain more water a little bit. So they work on both ways. So they are really this kind of stabilizers of environment.
Okay, I didn't know about this. It's so important.
Yeah.
So, how much of peatland has actually been degraded? Because the numbers that I've been reading online is some 23,000, 25,000 acres. Is that the number right?
This is what we have restored in
How
last
much? 23,000.
23,500 hectares, definitely.
Okay, okay.
hectares.
But when did you all start this work?
20 years ago.
For 20 years, you've been doing
yes,
this.
Yes.
And have you seen any changes because of this work?
Yeah, there are some very quick changes because first some indicator plants come back, but even earlier the typical breeding birds come back. There are tens of species of waders who breed only in very wet areas, as this is also takes down the predator risk and all. And these birds, when you re-wet these areas, it takes 2 or 3 years, and the worst breeders come back. Though this is very rewarding work actually, because
yes.
you quite soon see the results.
So biodiversity is thriving as of now.
Exactly. And of course dragonflies, what are also specific to these bog pools, they come back of course also very soon.
Absolutely. Whenever you go next to swamps, you have a lot of these insects. Dragonflies are there.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that actually I get scared of when I walk over there.
Yeah, why?
I don't know, the dragonflies.
They are of course predators, and they catch mosquitoes and gnats, and they are actually your friend when you are walking in a raised bog or mire. They control the airspace, so they don't bite you. The mosquitoes.
Next time when I'm walking over there, I should keep that in mind and say, okay, fine, you're my friends. I need not be afraid of you.
Exactly. When they circle you, they are actually hunting mosquitoes around you.
I didn't know this, but I'll keep that in mind. But sir, could you also tell me what really goes into restoring a peatland? What are the methods being followed?
Yeah, I think today is the simplest. We have used different plastics and everything, but now we just block the ditches with the same sphagnum. What we take from these areas, and this is best material. And actually, but of course, before we model every area, because there are private lands around protected areas, so we really don't want to flood private areas or private forests. So there will be, I think, 5 steps modeling. So we very well know how the water will act when we block one ditch or others. So there is lot of it is quite standard, but always special models are made so we beforehand know what we will achieve.
So use a lot of technology in this.
Yeah. Computers are mainly, but this is we measure the existing water levels, and then we make models, and then we know how many ditches to do. It's quite interesting.
It's interesting that you mentioned this point that you do not want flooding to take place for the private individuals who are staying there. What sort of support are you getting from the community? Is there opposition to this? Because I'm sure during the Soviet time, many of these were dried. They were used for farming purposes. And now if you're restoring means you're taking it back. So the people will be losing.
Yeah, but as there was about 22% of Estonian territory, more than 1/5 were different mayas historically. And now there are, with swamp forest, we can talk about 7% only. 5, 6, 7% maximum. So much areas of Mayas have been lost, I think, forever. So you can't totally. There are farmlands, and we
can't do anything
we
about it.
can't know, and actually we don't want to, because we don't get back these areas for some. Even all this this farmland has, let's say, evaporated or mineralized. So we work in areas where we can achieve the natural conditions, but still there are thousands of hectares to work. But the amounts were so big. But actually, Estonia is average country like Belgium or Switzerland or this kind of country. But still, we had, if you put all ditches what were in Soviet time made it, you can make 2 rounds around the globe. So about 80,000 kilometers of ditches if you put them all together. So there are
80,000 kilometers.
Yeah, of course, also very small ones, but still, all together, there are a lot of drainage done in Estonia.
So these are the challenges that you're facing. Any other challenges that you have faced while going about with this restoration work?
No, definitely we have to work with the community. We have different partners, of course, scientists, environmental NGOs. Our State Forest Service is one of carriers of this work, but of course we always have to discuss with communities and tell more and more that there is no risk. But because always people are suspicious when there is change. It is in our human nature to be a little bit cautious about any change. So work with communities is very important. Sometimes you have to have several meetings just to show these models and all. But actually, there is a lot of nature tourism going on in Estonia. We are actually in the North Atlantic flyway of Arctic birds. All the birds from Siberia, what breed in Siberia, north, they migrate via Estonia and they go to South Europe. But some go to Africa and some go to India also.
But they stop over here.
Yes, they stop here in spring and also in autumn for some weeks, and they feed here, and they actually spend their nights in bogs. Actually, geese and cranes, they feed on coastal meadows, but they go to bogs because this is wet and this is safe for them. And then they continue to wintering areas, to Asia, India, and also from Siberia, and they all they all come via Estonia. So we all share these birds actually.
So it's not just carbon sequestration. It's not just about groundwater. It's not just about controlling flooding, but it's not just about the biodiversity over there, but it's also for migratory birds.
Exactly.
So the importance of a peatland is manifold.
Yeah, millions of migrating birds actually.
Okay. Just finally, I just want to know, is there anything that other countries around the world who are maybe trying to restore, reclaim their wetlands, are there any sort of lessons that you have learned that they could actually inculcate or implement?
Yeah, when you ask this, I think that what we really have top-level scientific approach to these models. So how to plan things and how to do so exact models, so we really know how to raise the water to the right level, because we don't flood areas. We just get the water level to the right height. So this is actually quite precise work, more or less, and I think our scientists and planners this is world quality what we have achieved in these 20 years. They are quoted in different top scientific papers and all. So I think this expertise we really have, how to very precisely calibrate the changes and do the work. Yeah.
20 years, 23,500 hectares of peatland has been restored. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's about 5 p.m. over here, but you've still given your time to speak on Let's Talk Water on a very important topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you for asking me.
Thank you, sir.